You have to love wanting to help people be happy. Because if you are not into allowing people to have joy, don't do it. Because if it's just a paycheck, you're gonna hate it.
All right, welcome guys to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by A Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and our newest sponsor, Warrior Injury Law. This is the what edition of this, Joe?
Day drinking with CEOs.
That's right, so here we are day drinking. So our guest, well actually, we want to introduce Mark too, right? The man behind the scenes, the wizard of our Oz. So
Creative Block, the underbelly. We're in the underbelly, as you like to say.
of the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington.
Creative Block Studios, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we're going to give you the honor of introducing our guest today. You gave us a kind introduction, so while I pour this first drink out, please introduce our guest.
Yes, so today we have Jojo and Isaac of Bamboo Beats. Find them on Instagram at Bamboo Beats DJ. Yes. So how I started to work with them, I've known them for quite a bit, and how I started to work with them is I opened up Creative Block, and I believe is you hit me up, right? Because you saw we're doing stuff on Instagram. And then so from there, we were like, hey, let's do a mixtape in the studio upstairs. And so what we did, Isaac came in, set up his whole deal. They invited their friends, their dancer friends. Like, oh, can we have some dancers? Like, oh, okay. I wasn't quite ready for that. But moved the linoleum floor out, and we made an epic video, I would say. I would say like, it's not like in the thousands of views, but I'm like, this is one of my most favorite videos of all time that we've done. And it wasn't anything that wasn't, the intention was not to have it be this crazy, amazing thing. I was just like, I just want a mixtape. And here we are. And yeah, that was 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago?
Almost 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
2021 is when we opened up Creative Block. Y'all came through in April, I think, something like that.
It was like, right after a pandemic, things were just kind of starting
Starting to come back and everything.
We were all masked up.
Yep. Yeah, we're all masked up. So, sorry, that was a long-winded introduction, but intro to Jojo and Isaac.
Yeah, that was a fun day because, you asked us to, let's do something live. So we brought the turntable setup, we decked it out, we made it look all cool, and then you were like, oh, but we need dancers.
Yeah, because shout outs to Orb and Free and Joe also.
Yeah.
Circle of Fire, Soul Shifters crew.
Yeah, they came through and just were rocking out, that true B-boy flavor. Always inspiring to be around those guys. I have definitely a history with them, with the B-boy scene in Seattle. And actually did an album with Orbitron called B-Boy Universal back in the day.
When did that come out?
I want to say 2009. It's been a minute, but no, that album was pretty well received as far as the underground hip hop stuff, and we ended up getting I think a 4 out of 5 on OK Player on that album and some other cool stuff. But it was just a lot of fun to be on it, in that energy, creative energy with b-boying and MCing and just straight up hip hop.
And Orb is still really, our friend is very active at the scene here. He teaches classes at the Beacon with Master Monkeys. He hosts various dance show nights, right?
Yeah.
He's an MC, he's a b-boy. He travels the world and judges b-boy competitions too. So.
Right behind you. He taught classes right behind you.
Right here in this space.
Yeah. So I met Orb through them, obviously, and Free, and they blessed our space for that year of pandemic.
Cool. I'll toast to that. So cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
What are we drinking?
Our first drink is, since it's Thanksgiving, we're grateful
delicious.
for guests, right, is Thanksgiving a rum punch.
Oh, nice.
So Captain Morgan's spiced rum. We have some apple cider, cranberry juice, and then with the spiced rum, I percolated it with a couple cinnamon sticks to give a little extra flavor. A touch of honey that you probably can't taste, but a nice batch drink to enjoy. So happy Thanksgiving. Cheers, everyone.
What do you call it?
Cheers.
It's like just I just call it a Thanksgiving rum punch. Probably not the best title, but
This is delicious.
Yeah.
I love it.
holiday-ish. Dress it with a lime wedge and some cranberries to keep it kind of festive.
I can't really taste the alcohol in it, so does that mean I'm about just like?
Then I made it the right way. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a
I
creeper
like
drink.
it. Yes.
Oh man.
Well, this
let
is
me
a
make
creeper
it.
drink.
There you go.
So can you guys explain to our audience like how you guys got started and then your roles within the company?
Yeah, for me, I started DJing in high school. The first things I was DJing, started DJing in my mom's basement. First things I was DJing was like house parties, school dances, stuff like that. Met Jojo in the hip hop scene in Seattle. She used to be girl back in the day.
Yep, over at Jefferson. With DVS crew, I knew the original members of what became Massive Monkeys when they were my height, which is 5 foot. So a long time ago. But we just kind of knew each other in the scene. We like to call it the golden era. Mid-90s.
Yeah,
That's old Jefferson. That's old Jefferson.
Yeah.
Mid-90s, like the 95, 96, 97, 98 era,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was at UW, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of
that's how we
same
know
kind
each
of
other.
era, how we know. But yeah, like we knew each other in the scene. And then so I went to UW for the business school. And then after that, I went to Seattle Central for fashion design. And then my first job took me to San Diego. I worked for Mecca, if you remember Mecca Clothing. In
What's his
international
name?
news.
We had him on our Lando. Felix he was sitting in that chair.
Yep.
O'Day guy. Shout out O'Day Irish. So.
Yes. So, so my first job, I worked for Mecca. Then I moved I was actually interning at Mecca when I was in school at Seattle Central. And then after I graduated, I moved to their office in San Diego. And so I worked with them. I traveled, to Asia and New York. And then they reorganized, they closed down that office, and I moved back to Seattle. And during that time when I moved back to Seattle, we also had a mutual friend who was also a DJ. And he knew, that I was in fashion, and he was putting together a fashion show for a hip hop t-shirt line for DJs. So he asked for my help, like, can you work on this fashion show? So I thought it'd be really cool if all the models for the fashion show were actual DJs. So I was just getting back into town. So I was like, I need to reconnect with all the club DJs that I knew. And at that time, that was the era of DJ battles, DJ competitions, DMC, and all these other DJ battles. So there happened to be a DJ battle at EMP, or Mopop now, right? It was the EMP. So I went down to the EMP because I'm like, all the DJs will be here at the same time. They're at a battle. And I ran into Isaac because he was competing in the DJ battle.
Yeah, and I must have done something right because I got JoJo's phone number.
Game.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just hit it off. Like, we knew each other before, but we just kind of reconnected. And I mean, our first phone calls went all night long, even though we had important things to do the next morning. And kind of just had a whirlwind romance and got engaged about 6 months later over the holidays.
Oh, dang.
So this is 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was meeting the extended family for the first time during Christmas time. And of course, they're like, did you eat? Did you eat, right?
And I was trying to make a good impression, so every time I said, yeah. And
You're not going to say no.
No, they kept piling my plate higher, and I was like, man, I got to try and finish this. I don't think I ever did see the bottom of the plate. But needless to say, by the end of the night, we were close to food comatose. And, I was like, I need to consolidate this somehow. I mean, I think we made 4 different Christmas stops. Mm-hmm. So my solution was I turned to JoJo and I said, will you marry me?
Oh.
And then I said, will you marry me? And that was our engagement to each other. And then the food coma took over and we were knocked out for a week.
Yeah. And
How long?
6 months, David?
6 months.
Yeah, so we reconnected July of 2002.
Yeah.
And then that Christmas is when we proposed to each
I
other.
guess it's 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah, when you know, you know.
Yep.
And this last year we just celebrated our 21st anniversary.
So talk to us about the business journey now. The personal relationship now. But since we're day drinking with CEOs, we want to know the business side.
Yeah. So kind of what had happened is after the proposal, after we woke up, we went and told our parents what was going on, and they said, well, when's the wedding?
Yeah.
Where's it going to be at? What are the details? And we're like, okay, great. Now we got to plan this thing. So we're like, okay. Luckily for us, the Seattle wedding show was going on, so like we'll go down there and check it out.
Right.
I get down there, and okay, to back it up, JoJo with her background in fashion design, she already had the vision how everything was going to look and be styled. But she said to me, she's like, you need to head up what's going on as far as the music and really get into that. So I get down to the Seattle wedding show and I start looking around, and I'm like, absolutely not. This is terrible. Like, I mean, I come from the background of rocking off a turntable, so it's like I want to mix that song, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this next one. You know, by the end of the night, I want the, you know, people just like breaking out in sweats and a hot, sweaty mess on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Their style was more like they'd play a whole song out, they'd talk a whole lot, start the next song, and be like 30 seconds later when the intro's finally done, the beat kicks in, and I'm like, come on, let's get this going.
What year are we talking right now?
2003.
Okay.
And it was like, I think a lot of the club DJs didn't really, they didn't want to mess with weddings at all.
Stressful. Weddings are stressful.
And it was just like out of it.
Playlist. Can you play these 30 songs? Because
And people were just hardcore back then. You know what I mean? They're
It was
just
a
like,
different era. It's like, nah, I ain't playing all that and stuff.
You know, they're too cool.
And then you got to keep in mind too, we were coming from a certain background of the music we liked. So when I go talk to some of those people, like I talked to one guy and he handed me like a list of 200 songs, and he was like, you can pick anything off this list, and I'm like, this is like the do not playlist.
There's
like,
nothing on this list you want.
No, like I'm like, we're not playing the chicken dance, like, you know, YMC, like, nah, like get it all out of here. I'm like, this is not gonna work for us. So I'm like trying to figure out what to do. And I'm like, there's nothing out there that really matches what our vibe and our style. It was so cookie cutter. It was like one size fits all. So I was like, I'm sitting there thinking like what to do. I've been thinking over some ideas, and like we're in the car driving one day. I'm like, hey Joe, I think I'm a DJ at our wedding.
Okay, and we didn't have a face palm emoji back then, right? This is like 2003. But that was like our first like major discussion on how logistically that was not gonna work.
Yeah, and like you know, like as soon as I said it, saying it out loud did not sound as good as it did in my head.
Yeah.
And it would have been a logistical nightmare. Like how would I mean, just imagine like queuing up the first dance, announcers run out on the dance floor, and try and run back and, you know, switch the music to introduce her and her dad for the father-daughter. I mean, so the compromise is I got my good friend Guillermo, DJ Q's, to DJ the wedding. I stacked my record crates. He did a fabulous job. To this day, our friends and family still talk about how much fun they had. And from there, we started getting referrals to do more weddings and parties. And you know, got busier and busier. By 2005, we're like, you know what, we should go full time with this, and that's when Bamboo Beats was officially born.
Created an official business.
Yeah, because it was like there was a huge need not being met, and we're like, let's step in and see what, you know, what can happen. Really quickly, we got known for our dance parties, providing very unique musical backdrops for each and every event we do, and it's gone. Like I think we really raised the bar on what was possible as far as DJing in the wedding scene.
So that
The other thing
something
that
like
happened-
that wasn't. No one had it around. You created this because nothing was there.
Well, there was already a market of wedding DJs.
Yeah, but for what you at the wedding show, like you said, it's cookie cutter. And,
Yeah.
You basically built out a business for a specific niche.
But the other thing that helped be the catalyst for it was 2005 was when Serato came out, which you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, I mean, like digital MP3s where you can control them from your turntables, pretty much standard now, those type of DJ softwares. But it allowed you to like really be more custom to what people would like. I mean, I'm an avid digger. I have like record digger. I have over like 10,000 records at the house. But there's just some stuff that I wouldn't like.
We never would.
I wouldn't
yeah.
personally, you know, have in my collection per se, and especially at that time. But it allowed us to really cater and tailor to a more wider audience, but bring that style of, I would say, definitely a hip hop flavor of how things are mixed together and put together, just under like the context of bringing all types of people together. So being able to have that technology is like, oh no, now we can actually service.
Like we never thought
range.
about doing mobile events until really that came about, because we're like, we're not going to bring 10 record crates.
And it would be more
That's
like,
not very mobile.
I think at that time it'd be more like, I DJ this kind of stuff,
So you hire me for
and
that, yeah.
you hire for me for that. So kind of a,
But yeah, so the two things kind of converged, is where like our wedding was really fun, and then we got family and friends that wanted us to do their wedding. And then this technology came out, and we're like, oh, well, this would make it a lot easier. And that just kind of catapulted.
yeah, and then, I mean, yeah, like we really raised the bar on what was possible. And then I think too, it's like just being really open to all types of different styles of music, kind of more like the original flavor of hip hop, where it wasn't like, it's like they didn't even have rap records, so what is it? It's funk, it's soul, it's jazz, it's stuff from TV commercials. it's electronica music, it's rock, it's everything, and it's really just a tool to bring people together. And when you look at weddings, it's like, we got this family from over here, and the other side's from a whole different culture or something, all these different people coming together, different age groups. So how do you make everything gel together? And I think weddings are like one of the only like traditions, like widespread culturally we have here, where it's like we all still celebrate that you know, that.
Well, you celebrate a couple, and then everything else, the backdrop, like, I'll accept it, I'm here, and there'll be things I'm familiar with, I'm not. Like family, you know, like there's two sides of the family. I'm gonna start seeing you at parties now or functions, and it's like a mesh point, right?
And it's kind of like too, it's like by taking the styles of music and it's like overlaying them, putting them together. It's like taking what somebody might know with something they don't know, and then you put it together, and then it makes sense. So it's like, oh, I might like this old school whatever, and then this will go together. Like I did a wedding recently where on their list they had Dirty Bit by Black Eyed Peas, and they had Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, those are like the same key, they're about the same tempo. So I'm playing Dirty Bit, young people are going crazy, and I looped up the Billy Joel under it. So like Dirty Bit, bass line comes in, and then I'm like laid right under it, the Billy Joel. Like you sing, sorry, I'm not a singer, I'm a DJ.
That's like a 30-year gap too.
Yeah.
30-year gap of time.
So it's like the old people, like their eyes lit up. The younger people were like getting more excited. And then when it finally, like, you know, the last bass, you know, resolved on the final measure, and came in with the Billy Joel, Uptown Girl. Everybody was singing at the top of their lungs, and that's bringing people together through music. Yeah.
You're giving me goosebumps. I
Should have been there.
But thank you for doing that, because I've been to weddings where I'm looking at the DJ table, and the DJ table is basically an iMac. And my boy, I was invited to my boy's wedding, and this dude was just playing music. He was just a music player. He wasn't a disc jockey blending tracks. And so that's a seamless experience. He was like, song's over, fade in the next song that is not the same BPM, right? Like, oh shoot, now I've lost my rhythm, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing a Carlton. And like, where are the DJs that, and I asked my boy, how much did you pay for that? And I was super disappointed that he paid that much.
Yeah.
And to all the DJs that are out there that are just playing music, shame on you. Because you're messing it up for the rest of the DJs out there. You're naming yourself DJ, and then you're talking over music too much, right? The guests want to have fun. The guests want to kick it with the bride and groom and all that kind of stuff. And if you're just playing music and not to the point where you're mashing up Billy Joel and Black Eyed Peas and or keeping the party going, then that's like you're not doing your job. That's it. That's my
Well, and I
spiel.
think it's after pandemic too, like,
Yeah, I mean, like, because a lot of people got stuck home with nothing to do. Like, oh, I think I'll be a DJ. Let me download a program, and like, I come up with this playlist, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm saying I'm a DJ, and it's like, no, there's way more to
yeah,
it.
nothing beats the experience of
Yeah.
actually being in front of hundreds of crowds of different kinds of people and having to react.
And it's kind of, I like to say with like the squad that we roll with, like these are all real DJs. Like, I mean, we got like Supreme Rock on the squad, Rock Fizzle, Rock Right, New Rock, Vega.
Swerve.
I mean, not Vega, but Swerve.
Yeah.
Just all the different kind of, you know, shouts out to our other DJ homies that actually really DJ too in the wedding industry. But that, having that real essence of what real DJing is, I think it's so important because, yeah, during the pandemic, you had all these people that thought they were instant DJs, and then they're trying to put themselves out in front of these crowds, and you're getting those type of experiences where people are highly disappointed. They've looked at it and not really paid attention. It's good for us in a way because we have the niche and we're fulfilling that need, but it's really sad when you're like kind of looking like people kind of think that they're getting something that, oh, DJ, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but they're not really DJing.
Yeah, we're constantly having to educate people because they haven't had to hire a DJ before, right? They only know from experience at other events or maybe referrals from their friends and family too. So it's like constant education, even though we've been doing this for as long as we have. The industry's, you know, always the same age coming in when they're getting married. It's like, you know, this 20s to 40s age, you know, we're getting older, but they're staying the same age. So we're constantly having to explain like how we're different and in comparison to what may seem like a cheaper option, but explaining
So talk to us
overall.
about that. As a business owner, you pivoted through COVID where no events to where it is now. You're target demo of your client are people who get married from 20 to 40, and then the constant is they still get married at 20 to 40, but you guys, we age and everything. As a business, how do you go about being relevant to that 20 to 40, your target demographic? So for people that don't know you, talk to us about, because we're a marketing company, we're interested in businesses. How do you get discovered to those people who don't know you? Someone may have moved to the area, may have been like a b-boy back in New York, but now I'm working for Amazon, left the life, have kids, but there's still that ear. They have their Tommy Boy record still stashed away in the suitcase, right? You know, Malcolm McLaren, Buffalo Girls up on there or whatever, you know. Talk to us about that. How do you find those? How do people find you?
I think like with music's the universal language. So like a good DJ should really be able to play for any crowd. I mean, you get like younger people like, I only play this, and they identify their self-identity through the music they play. And it's kind of a limited way of looking at the world as far as a DJ, because a DJ should really be able to unite any kind of people. So it's like, what's the difference between playing for 20-year-olds? It's like you got a certain kind of music they like. Whereas about 80-year-olds, it's a certain kind of music they like. Oh, if they're that b-boy from New York, there's certain things that's gonna touch a nerve with those people. And then it's the experience of knowing here, and they're like, oh, we got
But
this.
even the younger generation, the 20-something-year-olds, listen to the 90s hip hop that we used to listen to back in the day, and even before that. I mean, I was at a wedding a couple months ago where they played just music in like a 50-year, and they knew all the songs. So all the old school stuff to me is coming back.
It also depends too on the clients, right? Like if they're really in tune with their family, they also know they grew up with what their parents listened to. So there's that bridging of the gap too. I think with us, because we've had such success in having these amazing dance parties, that word got out, and we've got like really great referral system from our vendor partners. And a lot of times even when a wedding planner or someone has a couple that might have a really what may be considered a challenging, you know, couple of different music tastes, they call us because they know that we'll deliver. Like we're able to be so flexible and create that same amazing dance party experience no matter what the story is. Like we're able to do that. And so because of that, we've, like I said, had a lot of word of mouth still to this day. And as far as your point, like how to stay relevant, it's like we do things outside of our business to give back to the community, whether it's like a community jam or b-boy jam, or we're doing other types of events from corporate parties to like retail type events. And so we're always out there staying fresh. And I think music really, you can really unite people, like he said, with music, but it also keeps you young. Like, you know, if you're constantly up on whatever culturally is in movies and music and like that all trickles down to how people want to express themselves and share at parties. So like I think we're lucky in that sense with our business because like I said, music and entertainment kind of like keeps us young.
Also too, I think like the modern technology, it's like you have the ability to like go record something in your bedroom, upload it, probably you could later that day to the internet and put that song out there. I think I heard something the other day, like just one day now. I don't know where I saw this, but I think they said like 1989, the amount of music that was put out in the whole year equals what comes out in one day now. So it's like some of those songs that we know, like, oh, this was like a huge song, like something like Uptown Girl or, you know, like Thriller or, I mean, just all kinds of stuff that we've heard. I mean, it could be any kind of, like it could be Bob Seger, I Love Rock and Roll, like all kind of crazy different stuff. We've heard these songs, and they had an easier path. Like you had to be actually chosen, but to cut through, if you had the talent and the marketing behind you, you could actually get cut through. Where now you could be super talented, and it's hard to cut through the noise. There's so much noise. Like how do you like people say, oh, all the music. Like I've heard people say it sucks now. Other people like love whatever's coming out, but it's not really that it sucks. It's just that it's harder to go find stuff and find this cool stuff, and then for it to get sticky and keep.
Yeah, cultural anthropology, right? It's like, how do we still know all of Michael Jackson songs? But what's going to happen in 20 years? Everyone's still going to know the Michael Jackson songs, but are we going to know the new artists that?
Guess what's going to stick in your head though? They're not like us. They're not like us.
They'll be, they'll be like.
But that song's sticky. It broke through for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
But you know, like what you're really like as an artist, like I'd be like, man, I want to be like, if I could be like a, you know, was a singer or something, I'd be like, I want to do something like Frank Sinatra. Or like way after I'm gone, like people are still like knowing
Right.
these songs, like
Crazy.
The key thing with that is that you're at a wedding, and you mash up a Frank Sinatra with same situation with something like 30, 40, 50 years later, that whoever is listening there are going to be like, you know, we hired Bamboo Beats and they were amazing. They catered to all of us.
Yeah.
And that's major. I have a question. What, it's a tagline question. So what's your elevator speech? Why should someone hire a DJ? With all of our phones that play a playlist, I'm a event venue person, and I give the option to connect to the Bluetooth so they can, I said, oh, you just bring your iPad. But I do have DJs on my list if you want to hire a DJ. But what's the tagline that I could use? What's your tagline? Why should they hire a DJ?
Why should they hire us? You want to take this one, Joe, or you want me?
I think if you're gonna have a party, you need to entertain your guests. And music and dancing is what people go to a gathering for, right? Are you gonna let the iPod dictate that with your playlist? It doesn't have the same energy. And you can tell right away if you've gone to a restaurant and the music they're playing is either too quiet and you can't hear it, or the music is bad. How was your dinner experience?
Instantly, you know.
Instant mood killer, right? We let our couples know that too. It's like, have you been to a restaurant and then there was no music? How's that feel? You're trying to enjoy a nice meal with your loved ones. The vibe isn't there. Like, and a lot of our couples are like, this is a very important, one of the most important parties of my life. I'm bringing all my favorite people together. I need to make sure that I trust the person that's gonna help me with the entertainment. Now, if you're gonna do a band, you're gonna do band, you're gonna do entertainment. But like what we do is we can create the mood for every part of your party and change it up as we go throughout the whole event, right? You have.
So is that auditory and visual too then? Are there some
We
visual
do,
stuff too?
so visually we do have party lights, we have uplighting, we have things that help change the mood from each moment, right? So you're gonna have your ceremony, it's gonna be more elegant, more classy, different kind of vibe. After the ceremony, everyone is celebratory. You're gonna have a cocktail hour. People are gonna mingle, they're gonna get back together and talk, and so that vibe is more reflective of the couple. It could be eclectic, or if they have a theme, we go work with their theme. And then you move on into the other parts, like dinner. So you're gonna have a nice mood music for your dinner. And then on to the important things, like if you do toasts and first dance and all those things. So, you know, the DJ is gonna be the one that's gonna help that move along, and you have to be able to trust who's that gonna be responsible for the party environment, right?
Your tone setter, right?
Yeah, and then it gets to the fun part. After all the formalities are done, like people really just wanna let loose. Right? And if the DJ is lackluster, it's like you spent all this money making everything beautiful and bringing all your people together, and then it's time to really let loose. And if your DJ isn't amazing, oh, what's your memory of that day?
Yeah.
Right.
There was like
open bar.
Yeah.
There was like a poll taken, and I think they said like
Drink that down, please.
well, because especially too, because like with weddings, it's easy to get caught up in the optics part of it. Like, oh, how does this look? How does this, like the pictures look great, which is very important. You know, we take the world in through our senses, so it's not just the visual, but it is the audio also.
Yeah.
But they did this poll and they asked all these couples, like, if there was something you could change about your wedding, what would you do? And I think it was like 85% said that they would have paid more attention to the entertainment and the music.
Wow.
Because it has more potential to tank a party than anything else. And this is what we are experts in. Like, you know, we're the ones that have been out there, like, put our 10,000 hours in real wedding experience. Like, we've seen it all. We know what's going on.
So what's been the best form of marketing then for you guys? Don't take out word of mouth, because the referrals will be there. Like, oh, we kicked it at this so-and-so's wedding, you got to hire them. For people that don't know you, what has been the best form of marketing for
I
you
think
guys?
we just offered our service to like-minded vendors and businesses for a long time in the beginning. Open house events, any
So
kind
partnerships
of
then.
partnerships,
Yeah, for
collaborations. We're like, hey, you know, we love to enhance whatever you're doing, like you're having a grand opening or a launch event. You need music. Let us be there and be your music partner. And we do that for a lot of companies and brands too. And so we just made a lot of relationships. So I think
Was that
that's-
you finding them though, like guerrilla marketing, cold calling?
Yeah, it was just kind of like lifestyle, like, oh, I was shopping here and I noticed that this is going to have a grand opening, and call them up and say, hey, you're going to have a grand opening. Do you need some music? Would love to trade or sponsor or whatever. And it just kind of like, I found out, finding out about a new venue opening up. Hey, do you have any music for your open house? So that sort of thing.
Because the DJs I know don't think that way.
No.
They'll go to like what the common playbook. I've been in a couple of networking groups. They'll do that. They'll go to wedding shows. You've seen
Yeah,
the
we do that too.
The cart,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys do that too. But
Yeah.
the run-of-the-mill DJs.
Right.
Not to put anything. The DJs who work hard, more power
Sure.
to you. But it's
But
a
it's
specific
expected.
experience, though, right? So like partnerships, kind of. Especially you're different than the rest. So like you want to communicate that to the people who are looking for that, right? So.
I think like kind of too with like something like maybe that's forgotten in our world today is that it's like market. I look like this, I'm doing, it's like you spend all your time trying to convince people that you do something and you spend no time
Working on
actually
your craft.
doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're so missing right now. And it's like if you actually care about the craft and you care about the product and you want to stand behind your product, like I told my buddy who's also a DJ, I said, there's people that all the time we spend becoming better DJs continually, they spend that same amount of time trying to convince their people that they're better DJs. But in the end, it's like, when we first did our first like wedding show, I said, I'm just gonna go and get down how I get down. And people that are attracted to that,
It's kind of gravitate towards the energy.
that's the people that we want to work with. And I said, if people don't attract to it, that's cool. That's not our customer. And what kind of happened? That was what was that? 2008 when the market crashed.
Yes.
And all the other vendors were like, "This year's terrible. It sucks. Like this is the worst year ever." And I remember thinking at that show, I was like, "If this is the worst year ever, I can't wait to see what happens when it gets good." Because this is like. It was
still got
amazing
married. Yeah,
for us.
so-
Like, and I think part of it too is like with DJ culture, it's like it was for so long determined by the club stuff, and it's like now it's an all-time like letdown going out a lot of times because they're grabbing those Insta DJs and that type of stuff, and then even too where the people have been conditioned to believe that, but then when they get in front of a DJ that really throws down, they're like, "Oh, what the heck just happened?"
Yeah.
It's like when you go to your favorite concert. And it's like crescendo after crescendo after crescendo till you get to like that biggest song of their catalog at the end of the night, and you walk away and your mind's just like,
Yeah.
this is the best show I've ever seen in my
And
life.
you're talking about
The
it.
euph-
Yeah.
Talking about
Yeah.
it.
The euphoria sets in, and it's like, it's something more magical than, oh, I just showed up and played some songs.
So we really set out in our branding and our marketing to promote the art of DJing, and then we tried to align ourselves with other people who are artists in their field as well too, right? So we know the best photographers, the best caterers, so we all kind of are on the same quality level and referring each other, which has
Right.
been really powerful for us. Even we're celebrating 20 years.
So 20 years.
next year.
What's been the biggest obstacle you had to overcome, and how did you overcome that obstacle?
Ooh, there's been a lot of
think,
different things.
Well, before you answer that,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Oh,
cheer up.
yes.
So this is a little bit stronger, but this is definitely, I've never made this drink before, especially with real calamansi, but it's a calamansi margarita. So we have anejo tequila. I got this in the Philippines, so this is calamansi liquor
Oh my gosh.
with fresh
smell that.
calamansi.
Smells so good.
And of course agave syrup. So it's a traditional, this is like the big boy margarita. It's
Big boy.
it's strong,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
really quality ingredients. So
All right.
All right,
to quality
cheers.
Calamansi
Calamansi.
margarita.
It smells
Cheers, y'all.
amazing.
Cheers.
And if there are any liquor sponsors that would like to sponsor
Yes, this is
day drinking
good.
CEOs,
So this is like real
Yes.
calamansi squeeze. So this
That
is
is delicious.
you'll taste the difference then.
oh yeah,
You're hired.
Yeah.
that's good.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna hire for my party.
That's what I'm saying right there.
So biggest obstacle
Obstacle.
and how you overcame it. Because every business has multiple obstacles throughout the years, especially going on 20 years. But there has to been some point that you were like, I'm going to throw in the towel at this point. Why did I keep going?
I think
I'm just gonna go like this is
we might have
100%
different
just.
opinions.
This is what we want to hear.
This
on
is like
podcast, so.
this is keeping it like like I don't like talking about this really like just all the time, but I'm a type 1 diabetic. So the biggest obstacle for me was I got diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, which affects your eyes. I had some bleeding in my back of my eye, and I couldn't see out of an eye for a while. I got operations and everything, but really, I mean, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I had to be out there DJing all the time, and I couldn't tell anybody because people were like, don't hire them. He might go blind, and what's going to happen with our client? And it's like, even if I was blind, I'd out DJ some of these guys. Like, it wouldn't even matter. Like, come on, man. Like,
But you didn't want that to be a stigma.
no, and it was
Yeah.
like, you know, trying to keep everything together. But I think with diabetes, there's like a stigma. Like, it's you blame the people suffering from the condition like it's their fault. And it's like, I'm like, really? Like, it's so ridiculous, and there's so many misconceptions about that condition and how it affects people. Type 1's an autoimmune disease, you know, so it's not, there's nothing diet related or anything like that. So it's like that part to have that, but then to know, and when this comes into business, like some of the stuff, like starting businesses and stuff, not having health insurance when you're starting out because you're just grinding and it's like fun, and you jumped away from the regular, you know, 9 to 5 thing, and you're like, and that's like, we're trying to create businesses like, you know, like small business.
Sobering, right?
Yeah, small businesses create so much wealth and the backbone of America. And it's like the fact that people don't have health insurance and then have to deal with all this stuff to try and navigate that stuff when it's something that could be remedied, you know? That's like, I think that faces a lot of businesses having like those basic needs for people covered, and it's like, yeah, it's real.
The challenge is that, you know, he's not replaceable, right? Like, so
You're the asset.
you are the business, right? And so if something happens to him, then there goes the business, right? We can't fulfill our contracts. We have to give money back. Like that's definitely like one of the issues. And then the other issue is just scaling. Like, because of that, how can we grow our business if it is only us, one talent, right? So we've tried different things on how to scale our business. We've had
Trial and error.
We've had different rosters of DJs, bringing on teams. You know, we're not the employee type, so we're like not trying to have employees. So we're really we're our
1099 subcontract.
Yeah. So our strategy was, we want talented DJs that have some sense that we can, you know, instruct and guide on how we do things in the wedding industry. Some are great, some are not great, and that is the challenge, you know, still to this day, is how to scale this business when we focus on the art of DJing, and it's very particular to the artists that are providing service.
Because with that, even though if they're good DJ, I'm guessing they still have to have a huge passion aside from what they do, correct?
Yeah.
Because if they lack the passion and someone hires you and they go out there and then they take it, then it reflects negatively on your business.
Right, and it's
Or
also
your brand,
right,
you know?
and it's also customer service. You know, you're working with the couple, you're working with other vendors, you're working with all the players involved that put together an event, and so there's that part of your personality that has to be amicable as well as being a talent in what you do. So finding those people, it's always hard to find. You know.
Well,
right
I think
person.
too, like with DJs, like it's like what some of like the talented DJs don't realize is that you still have to be professional.
Right.
Like, you still got to show up. You can't show up to work all messed up and doing all sort of crazy stuff. Like, you know, you have to be like customer service to people. You got to, you know, it's not about you, it's about the client and what's making them like have the best day of their life. And if you have like this ego or you have all these hang-ups and stuff, you might say, oh, that DJ is terrible. And they're looking at it from a technical standpoint, which could definitely be true, but it's like, hey, that guy shows up every day.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that people will put that much into their craft and then not show up when it counted. It's like if you knew how to play in the NBA, like you had the skill to be able to do it, and then you don't show up to games.
Yeah, you're not making it on the roster.
No, like
not getting chosen.
it's you know, the NBA finals, and I think I'm gonna just not show up today, or I'm gonna like, you know, stay out all night and party and then show up messed up, or I'm gonna ignore practice and not know what's going on with the team. It's like, if you have the talent, man, like take it serious. Like what? I think that's any business. Though. There's tons of talented people that they get up in their own hangups and stuff. But I think as business owners, the challenge with that is kind of being able to discern and recognize that as you go and know what to. You learn as you go, like what to watch out for, red flags, and stuff like that. So,
where do you guys see your business in the next 5 to 10 years? Where, if you looked at a crystal ball or the magic 8 ball, where am I going to be in 5, 10 years? What does that business look like to you guys in that time?
That's a good question. I think we've been scaling up. And that's actually been, some of the stuff we're doing is working really, really well. But still trying to, keeping the quality up is important. But then kind of shifting certain aspects of the business around.
I think we're also in a position to where we could help the next generation.
Yeah.
With the next round of DJs that are providing the same level of service and talent. And there's a lot of people who are maintaining the DJ culture that we want to collaborate with.
So let me ask you this. How are the next generation discovering DJing? I mean, how do they discover that? I know on the dance side, things with what they're doing around the community with classes, you could learn about that. DJing, not your, in high school, I'm going to take auto shop, I want to take DJing.
Yeah.
You don't see that on the sign-up elective list. How's the next generation discovering this art form, potentially career?
I think it's like kind of like the responsibility of people that actually know the art form. And I think there's been steps moved forward where we're showing people what it is, exposing people to this. Instead of saying nobody understands and like going and hiding in our bedroom and say like, it's like, no, we need to throw nights where it's like the most amazing DJ in the world comes out and you actually see what real DJing is. You get to experience that. We did a night here a few weeks back. We got to bring out D-Styles, one of the best scratchers in the world, pioneer.
Filipino.
Yeah,
From the Bay.
From the world famous
From the Bay.
Scratch
Yep.
Pickles.
Yeah, part of Invisible Scratch Pickles and also part of the Beat Junkies. The Beat Junkies have a school in LA.
Oh, they do.
And their tagline is called Building Better DJs. But I think all of us around, anybody that truly loves DJing in every little city, we need to be educating the youth on what real DJing is and get them excited about it.
Because they think it's an app you can download.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like DJ Hero, here you go. I'm going to download an app on my iPad. I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
There's that
Right.
misconception also.
Yeah.
Well, and we're here to like show new DJs that you can make a living off it, and this is how you can do it, and still maintain your art. Because you got to pay your bills, and there's a need for what we do that will also help you do other things. So like maybe in 5, 10 years we have an army of DJs that we've taught in this philosophy
I think too,
that are also rocking parties and helping people celebrate.
you have like the DJs now, it's like they want to be a tastemaker instead of really like, which a DJ is a tastemaker, but they're more concerned about like, oh, I'm going to play this, this, and this, and this is cool. And it's like, okay, but you only got a window of like that much before that's up. So how are you going to maintain? Because it's like, okay, you're like 20 now. What about when you're 30? And then all your friends are starting to get married and then they're not going out no more. And then it's like the kids that used to be 10 years old are out in the clubs. And you're sitting there trying to compete
And you can't.
with these cool like 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids. And then it's like, oh, dang, you can't compete. But the one thing is, if you got skill, it's like, oh, nah, hold on. I can compete. And I just, I'm gonna send you back to your house to practice after we get done doing what we're doing. Like, nah, you're gonna see what it is, and you're gonna take that flavor, and you're like, oh man, you want to get them in their feelings, so they're like, oh man, now I gotta step my game
Because I
up.
don't think if you're picking this as a career, like knowing the career path of you can make this a career. I mean, the top DJ residencies in Las Vegas, they started all somewhere, and. But it's legit, even in whatever city you are, like you can make money in a career as a
Yeah, there's definitely different paths. Like if you're a DJ producer, like, you can be that guy or that girl, or you can have residencies in big cities. But then there's also just where people need music, for events. And that's where we are specializing in letting people know that that's a path that you can take.
Right.
Sometimes too, like with the path, there's a lot of paths, but like in any industry, like if you're really trying to do it, you got to trailblaze. Like nope, I'm going the path nobody's traveled. Like, I'm gonna follow this. I see something out there that nobody else can see. I see a need that's not being met. Let me take that path. Even when everybody around me saying that won't work, that path is not it. If you can find that thing where you've seen that value there and you can figure it out, it's like the trailblazing, like not being afraid to just like, nope, we're going that way. Change the narrative.
So what percentage of DJs now still use like 1200s?
And that's what we're trying to keep alive.
Yeah.
It's getting scary because it's like, I did one a wedding this summer at this other venue, and the bar guy, he goes, man, you're the first person all summer that's actually had
Brought vinyl.
turntables. Yeah. So it's like this ideology of a little controller. And I'm not saying, if that's all you got and that's all you can afford, more power to, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like the entry level to get into like DJing is not, for back in the day, it wasn't cheap. It was a lot of sacrifice just to get there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go the Radio Shack route, you get your Radio Shack mixer or Gemini turntables, or taking my dad's Sansui, unplugging it and putting it in there, doing something, you know.
Dude, Patrick used to ask me to help roadie for him, and then he would ask the nephews or the whoever. Like, this is a lot of gear to lug.
It is.
And the wax crates are heavy AF, right? And
Patrick's a small dude, dude.
Yeah. And thankfully, right, now it's all in your laptop.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Yeah.
it's also too, like with the vinyl, it's like, you know, a lot of stuff like people go, oh, well, I can have the like auto sync BPM, like insta DJ type stuff. But it's like, put them in front of like with real records and see what happens.
Right.
Put your little white round stickers, like, all right, I'm gotta turn it up, gotta see it.
And it's
Like
kind
a
of
roulette
like people
wheel.
like even knew, like for me, like with records, like I DJ'd Massive Monkeys Day for like, I think about 6 hours of the time or something, just off of 45s, break beats and stuff. And it's like, that's,
There's nothing like that.
you know, like going down and DJing the all vinyl day at B-Boy Summit in LA. And you gotta like realize too, if you're coming like from Seattle into LA, you're probably already walking in like, okay, you can't be.
You gotta prove.
You gotta show them.
Show and prove.
Yeah.
But to be able to go in there and rock it for the B-Boy call out battle that day, that type of stuff, it's like, people go, oh, if, you know, like, it's like, can you really do that? Like, if you had the records, could you do that? But then there comes in like, but what about the records? Like, some of these records are rare and hard to get. And like, I mean, on our team, like Supreme, like, you're talking about probably like a handful of people in the whole world. Like, Supreme's up there.
Oh yeah, one of our DJs, Supreme LaRock, he has a show on KXP on Sundays, but he is like a world famous record collector.
Thank you for watching part 1 of this day drinking episode. Part 2 will be available soon. And don't forget to follow Joe and Galen on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Shout outs to our sponsors, A Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and Warrior Injury Law.